Corella Deville. If she doesn't scare you, no evil thing will. I can't sing the song for copyright reasons, but it's a classic and it's a catchy song. I can't see anything topping that altogether. That's just icky. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Kevin Reviews. I just finished watching the 100 Walt Disney's 101 Dalmatians. This is again by Walt Disney Pictures, obviously, and the is directed by Clyde Geronimi. Hope I'm getting that right. Hamilton Luske, Wolfgang Reitherman. This is written by Bill Peet and Dodie Smith. Dodie Smith, who is the author of the book The 101 Dalmatians, and this stars Rod Taylor, Betty Lou Gerson, J. Pat O'Malley, Cate Bauer, Martha Wentworth, and Lisa Davis. So the movie is about puppies, Dalmatian puppies, and this was a popular film back in 1961, coming off the cusp of the last film, Sleeping Beauty, and so there was a lot to basically lose in this because if you remember, Black Cauldron nearly destroyed Disney at one point, but there was a moment where Sleeping Beauty almost did too, and I'll get into that a little bit later. Um, and I'll explain it a little bit later. But I remember watching this a lot as a kid, and I don't know how many times, but it was around this. It was the same number of times as I watched like Lion King. I watched Beauty and the Beast, Back of Notre Dame, all those Disney films all together. And I even had one of these VHS cases. I don't have the 101 Dalmatians anymore, but this was what I'm just showing you the case of what it originally kind of looked like. And this was a very, unique case. And I think most Disney collectors would love to have this. VHS has kind of gotten out of style now, but it's quite a collector's item in a way. The other thing is that when I was a kid, around 6 years old, I think I wanted to be a Dalmatian for like Halloween because again it was one of my favorite films at the time, and so my mom uh, designed a costume for me, and I still have it. Yeah, here it is. This is the head, and doesn't fit me much anymore. But I mean, you got the ears, you got the tongue, you got the eyes. So this was something she put together, and this is just a hat that she sewed it on. We have the sweater or the shirt that basic with all the spots still on there. Some of them did fall off, but most of them have stayed on. It's quite impressive how long they've stayed on for. And then of course we have to have the Dalmatian tail and the lower half. So yeah, we had the tail. Um, so this was something my mom made as when I was a kid, and I do really appreciate it, and I've had it. I've held on to it for years. There was a time I wanted to get rid of it, but I don't think my mom ever wanted to get rid of it because it had sentimental value to her. And now it has more sentimental value to me because ever since she has passed away. So, but I want to kind of move on from that. But I do thank my mom for doing the costumes. Um, but in any case, in terms of the book, I have never read the book by Dodie Smith. I'll get into a little bit from what I heard about the book, because there is some controversial issues in the book. Um, I also remembered I wanted a Dalmatian dog for a long time as a kid. We never got Dalmatian. There weren't very many Dalmatians in my area, especially at the pound. B, my mom was sort of an expert or groomer for dogs, and she has a particular set of dogs in mind that she wouldn't mind adopting, and Dalmatians wasn't one of them, nor was Chihuahuas or German Shepherds. It was she wasn't really into those type of dogs. So yeah, it was very particular. So I never got never had a Dalmatian, but I if there were time I did want one. But yeah, this was a favorite of mine as a kid, and I didn't have the movie anymore for years have passed, and I remember going back to the film, thinking back on the film, and I was like, I got to see it again because this was such a favorite of mine that I want to see how well it holds up. And then I got it in the 2020s on DVD, and yeah, I rewatched it, and this is my review of 101 Dalmatians. So the story in 101 Dalmatian is Pongo, played by Rod Taylor, and you have Perdita, played by Cate Bauer, are Dalmatians who live a happy life until the dreaded Cruella de Vil, played by Betty Lou Gerson, shows up at the door wanting the puppies. And when their owners, Roger and Anita, Roger played by Ben Wright, and Anita, I think I got the actress is wrong, Lisa Davis. Lisa Davis, yes, Lisa Davis did Anita. They said no, and now Cruella de Vil has to devise a plan to basically steal the puppies to make them into dog skin coats. What an evil woman. So, to sum up, I actually still like this movie. I don't know how well it holds up in terms of nostalgic goggles, and because this is a 1961 film, and as a kid, I was so impressed by this film at the time. A lot of it was the animation, the characters, Cruella de Vil as the villain, the fact that it was just puppies running around being cute. It was quite a sight to see, and I I loved it for that. As an adult, with a bit more criticalness, it's a good movie. I still have nostalgic goggles for it, but like I said, I think because with technology evolving and stories being better, it does kind of fall off my terms of my favorite films. I don't, but it's not bad. I'm not saying it's bad by any means. If you love 101 Dalmatians, like you're in top five, top three, that's totally fine. But after rewatching it, yeah, I still think it's a fun movie. I mean, you got really it's a simplistic movie with simple characters, charming characters even. Pongo and Perdita are very charming as a couple, the couple of dogs, and as well as Roger Radcliffe and Anita um, play again Ben Wright and Lisa Davis, and they're a charming couple too. Um, there's not a ton like the personality with our main characters, Pongo and Perdita especially, but they're Pongo especially I think does have a little bit more personality than Perdita because we hear him narrate, we have him talk, he's talking about Roger like he's the pet, um, so we kind of get a role reversal in a way, but he sees him as a pet, and of course Roger sees Pongo as a pet, and Pongo at one point wants to help Roger find a woman to be with, and because the single life was boring. So you get to hear a good part of the narration for majority of the first, but once they're together, that narration ends. So, but it's still fun. There's some humorous moments. There's not a ton of it. It's pretty simple. Um, Roger and Anita are pretty charming. There's not a ton to them, though. Roger does come up with that song, that catchy as all song Cruella de Vil, and he's kind of a fun character. They kind of disappear like last third of the film because till like the very end of the film. So there's not like a ton to them. Cruella de Vil does steal the show entirely. A lot of her character is based off a real actress. I think I have to look here a little bit, but I think her name was Tulia um, uh, Tulia Bankhead. Tulia Bankhead. I don't know a ton about her as an actress, but I did look up a little video, and she does. it's pretty spot on. So I I would say check her out. Talulah Bankhead. I have to read this. It's spelled Tallulah, Bankhead. Because then you kind of see where they got the inspiration for Cruella de Vil, including like they also based their fashion choice is based off a character based off another actress, Zsa Zsa Gabor. Um, I don't know a ton about her. I think she was supposed to be in Green Acres, the TV show. I haven't seen Green Acres, and I know she has a sister, Ava Gabor. So I could have gotten some certain details wrong. I didn't bother researching, but yeah, they took a lot of inspiration from those two, as well as some others that I can't place at the moment. Um, Horace and Jasper's in this. Pat O'Malley actually plays two roles as Jasper and this dog, the Colonel, and another voice later. Horace and Jasper are pretty much the Abbott Costello, but if they were villains, and they're kind of fun. It's not as slapstick heavy, but there are some great moments, and especially quite a number of bickering moments that they have. So they're kind of a lot of fun. Side characters are pretty they kind of usually come and go, though. I will say the colonel, this sheepdog, I think, the captain, it's like this horse, and of course Sergeant Tibbs, the cat, I think are the most standout side characters. I mean, I think even Sergeant Tibbs, who goes above and beyond to basically save these puppies from Horace and Jasper, is the highlight of the film for him. And I kind of wish he was in a little bit more. But I really enjoyed it. He was a really fun character. Now the art style. Now here's the thing. Like I said, this came off from Beauty and the Beast, not Beauty and the Beast, Sleeping Beauty, where while it did have a well-known villain, it didn't meet the expectations. It was kind of underwhelming at the time of release. At that time, Disney's animation studios was suffering quite a bit um, because the animation took such a long time. It was also hard on the animators doing ink drawing and stuff like that. So they came up with an idea, and even Walt Disney wasn't exactly on board with the idea, but later on they used Xerox, kind of a way to help preserve the artist, pencil stencil drawings, ink drawings, and use it on animation cells. So kind of use them on top of each other to kind of make it look like there's more going on, and it saved time and it saved money. It preserved their work. Um, it it was very costly just to use doing the ink, just doing the regular ink process. So it's helped save Disney for that time. So like I said, there was a moment where we often associate Black Cauldron as the near kiss of death of Disney Animation Studios, but there was a time where Sleeping Beauty didn't meet the numbers, and 101 Dalmatians saved it. So, and it saved a lot of money. The Xerox, using Xerox helped, bring Disney Animation Studios out of a hole. So there's a lot of good things. Animation wise, I still think it looks pretty gorgeous based on color. But you do get to see a lot more. It's kind of rough. You see more of the black outlines of the character, and sometimes it doesn't you know you kind of get to see a little bit more realistic hair, kind of how it's designed or something like that. Um, but I think because this is a film of 1961 and you have it transferred on DVD, and on a DVD there are noticeable hiccups. There's like an intro sequence, all of which I will say I love the intro sequence using jazz music, beat bop, big bop type music. It's a lot of fun. I really like the intro, by the way. But there's a moment in the film where you see a bunch of Dalmatians running, and usually it's pretty clean. It was clear cut or clean cut in the VHS version, but the DVD version that doesn't really hold up very well. It looks like it skips quite a bit in some of the frames, so it's noticeable. There are moments where I thought I saw that some of the Dalmatian spots look red, um, and also the some of the animation on the dogs. There are moments where this is likely from the cell animation, where you can actually see kind of the stencil, the pencil drawings of some of the Dalmatian like puppies. Um, So it's you have to look very closely, but it's a tad bit distracting. But it doesn't hurt the film entirely. But I still like the animation. I don't think it's as great as some of the earlier animation, where it's more reliant on ink. And this was the beginning of using Xerox. So I mean, they had to. Um, I mean, I'm sure they had to cut corners. They even had like 500 animators, and they had to cut 400. So they only had 100 animators to basically make this film entirely. They also used rotoscoping for certain scenes, like the climax involving a car chase, where they had to actually use 3D models to, and they used 3D models, and then they kind of traced it with black outlines to fit in the world of this animation style. And there's even a moment where Corella's car goes into the snow, and you can actually see it's trying to blend into the other animation, but you can obviously tell it's supposed to be like something real. Um, and they kind of basically use it to kind of drive up. And but yeah, they I don't know how to explain it exactly, but it's quite impressive for what they did. It doesn't exactly hold up um, in terms of the rotoscoping, but the rest of it's fine. Though there are a lot of animation moments where certain areas, like one scene involving where they're waiting for the puppies to be born, it's very flat looking. And granted, it helps the character stand out more, but I don't know, it doesn't probably hold up nowadays for a 3D crowd. Three, two, one. So is there anything else I like? um, you know what, to be honest, I think I got out everything that I liked about this. I mean, I will say also, I forgot to mention great animation type moments with Cruella Deville that makes her kind of turn from happy, or kind of evilish, to just flat out the devil at one point. Gotcha. Um, yeah. In any case, yeah. I think I got out everything I say. What is there that I don't like, or I didn't think really holds up very well? Um, I guess there are some elements of the story involving Corella Deville and Anita, because when we first meet Corella, she just happens to show up, um, and we're told that Corella is a friend of Anita from like back in the school days or something like that. Um, and yeah, that seems kind of random. And when Cruella gets there, she's kind of just automatically looking for puppies. So I don't know. There seems to be kind of a cutoff, like some scenes missing to that leads up to that point. But maybe that's really not the point, because, like I said, I think this film is more about emotional storytelling than it is logical storytelling. But I guess as an adult, I'm more focused on the logic part. Um, but yeah, the other and Anita can be kind of a ditz a little bit, because I don't know, when the moment where Corella just basically says, threatens them that about the puppies, like you'll rue the day or whatever. I know she didn't say that, but I that's basically how she how she did say it. Um, she When the puppies are eventually captured, Anita doesn't act like she thinks Corella did it or something like that. She does mention that the police already interrogated her, or something like that, which they couldn't find anything, and we don't even see the interrogation. Um, so part of me almost kind of wish we saw more scenes in the film entirely, but I think the film the film mainly focuses on the animal characters, Pongo, Perdita, the puppies. And speaking of the puppies, that's another thing. The puppies aren't exactly fleshed out enough. We do have a couple few names that I remember personally. That's Patch, he's the one with the with a spot on the eye, and of course they had Rolly or something like that. He's the fat puppy who always hungry. So they don't really give them that much to do, and other puppies have some names, but they're pretty much glossed over. I don't know. I kind of wish we seen a little bit more going on, or I don't know. There's even a moment where when the puppies are captured and taken to a location of the Deville house. I'll get into that a little bit later. I don't know. I would have figured the puppies would try to find ways to escape because they're only dealing with Jasper and Horace and Jasper. And yeah, I mean, I would have thought they would try to escape um, before. We don't really see that. They just kind of sit there watching television mostly. So I don't know. It is what it is. Again, it's emotional storytelling. It's about saving, trying to save the puppies rather than the puppies trying to escape. I get it, but I mean, there's got to be a little bit of logic with you, especially with the puppies. Um, the DeVille house is another thing because I don't quite understand. Again, this is probably been cut for reasons. But I mean, this is the DeVille house. It looks abandoned. It's even said to be haunted. And we know it's basically Cruella DeVille's like old place, which I guess she doesn't use anymore. It's unclear about what she, what how she is associated with the DeVille house. What's the history behind it? And again, it's probably my adult logic thinking that I want some stuff to be explained, but it doesn't technically need to be explained that much. I Yeah, I don't know. It's just me. I kind of wish there was a little bit more to it overall. But yeah, otherwise, just some story element problems. It does. I will say that the other thing is that this film did eventually get a live action remake way before we've had this slew of live action remakes with Moana 2, uh, Beauty and the Beast, Lion King, all that live action remake stuff. But we had a live action remake in 1996. Um, and to be honest, I think it's a bit divided. I think, but personally, I'm going to keep this short. I do like it. I like it just as much or equally as the animated one. But the one thing they do actually do well was they expand on the relationship with Cruella Deville and Anita, and they do switch a couple things like making Anita more of a employee to Cruella Deville, who's like a fashion um, a manager at a fashion thing. I don't know. I'm not a fashion person. So, but yeah, Anita's the employer, and that makes sense. And Anita's a little smarter than I think in the animated one. So they really do expand on that. Um, I mean, the other thing is the dogs don't talk, and it's kind of pick your poison really. If you want the focus to be on more on the dogs and you love the dogs, especially if you grew up watching the original 101 Dalmatians, totally understandable. But I also like how in the live action they just trained them, so it's kind of interesting. I like them both equally, to be perfectly honest. Otherwise, yeah, I don't really have any much to say. Yeah, I think this is a great time for your time, great film to, especially for your younger kids, and especially if you grew up watching it for um, when you're younger as well. And I'm sure it's great. It's great for people for those who really love dogs, especially Dalmatians and puppies. I think you'll really like this film overall. It's not the best. I don't wouldn't say it's like I did say earlier that it wouldn't be in my necessarily my top 10. I probably would even give it a low like top in my top 10, like around the 10th or ninth spot, maybe 11th spot, just to kind of squeeze things out. Because honestly, and with technology, the animation, characters, and story, it has evolved over the years. Not all the films have evolved, great or caught up to be kind of better, but for what this film is, it is just a fun time just watching cute puppies. And if you love cute puppies, you will love this film. So I will give 101 Dalmatians from 1961 4 stars. I think this is a fun time, and this is likely nostalgic goggles and a little bit of me being critical as an adult. But yeah, it's a fun time overall. So, what are your thoughts on 101 Dalmatians? Leave in the comments below, leave a like or dislike the review if you wish, and feel free to subscribe to my channel and click the notification bell so you can be updated on any more future videos. Again, if you haven't seen my Independence Day review, I did mention that I am on Facebook now, and I'm on Instagram, so you can check out Facebook at Kevin Reviews, and on Instagram you can find me at kevin.reviews.1408. So like the Stephen King movie 1408, and you feel free to follow those pages if you like. I'm still trying to come up with like material, like find stuff to like share and whatnot, but I will be posting stuff about upcoming videos or something like that. um, I'm trying to still figure things out overall. But yeah, anyway, I will see you guys in the next review. Bye.